Joining us right now is Bob Dane. He is the Communications Director for Federation for American Immigration Reform. Bob Dane, we're all Americans, North and Southern Hemisphere. It's all the same, right, Bob?
To Nancy Pelosi. Good morning, Tori. Good morning.
Good morning.
Well, I'm thinking that you might have some reaction to Nancy Pelosi's comments down there. And when she says we have to use this crisis as an opportunity to show who we are as Americans.
Channeling her Rahm Emanuel.
Yeah. I bet you would like to use this crisis as an opportunity to show what we should do as well.
Well, there is the never let a crisis go to waste angle, but it may be the fact that Nancy Pelosi sees the world a little differently than most folks, alarmingly detached from reality, to be maybe more precise. And the reality she can't see, even when she's there, but everyone else can, including a lot of members of her own party, is that Obama's lax enforcement policy has produced a very dramatic and a visible result. You've got complete chaos at the border and a worldwide belief that America doesn't care about enforcing its laws. Pelosi has been part of the problem, and instead of acknowledging the consequences of this mess, she spins this as an opportunity to be charitable, as though it were all nothing but a church bazaar to raise money for the poor and make herself feel good. I just don't think Nancy Pelosi is fully engaged with the substantive elements of this issue, maybe other issues.
I think it's so interesting you say that, and this happens time and time and time again. Politicians, and they're probably Republicans and Democrats, ignore the laws as they exist. And they want to make something else happen in some sort of alternative universe, as you're describing. If they want to change the laws, fine. But how about enforcing the laws that we have? It's been a persistent, consistent problem with immigration for years and years and years. If they just enforce the laws in the book, we would be doing better than we are now. But they just want to create this world in which everybody's happy and everybody has pink unicorns and we can do everything.
Yeah, look, the Democrats and the Obama administration's response to this has been laughable. Obama is pretending to fix the very thing he deliberately broke. Last week, he sent Biden down to Central America, and that just made it worse. Biden told the news media, hey, don't come to the U.S. illegally, but then he tells the audience instantly how to make an asylum claim so that they can stay. It was sort of like telling somebody, don't break into the bank. But by the way, old Fred, the security guard, who's half blind and has a rusty gun, he opens the vault every day at 7:15. It's a mixed message. And for those thinking about coming in, it's a green light. And then over the weekend, Obama told George Stephanopoulos of ABC News that illegal aliens shouldn't try to enter the country, and if they do, they're going to be returned. But it was completely half-hearted and as casual as if, the two guys were just sitting there swapping stories about their golf scores.
He did try a couple of times, though, over the last few days to say the message to parents in at part of do not send your children here. So they must have really been getting some serious blowback on what Biden did and how he did.
They must be seeing it in the polls.
Yeah, the president has got to have a primetime, nationwide television address telling the country and the worldwide viewing audience that he needs to look into the camera and say America is serious about enforcing its laws. Illegal aliens are going to be removed, and amnesty is off the table now and in the future.
Yeah.
And he should have multiple translators standing next to him translating the message for those in Central America. That wouldn't cost us $2 billion. It would stop the problem, and it might just save a few lives.
Bob Dane's our guest. He's the Communications Director for FAIR, the Federation for American Immigration Reform. You just mentioned this $2 billion. What is your understanding of what the president, he plans to ask Congress for $2 billion to help solve this problem? What's he going to do with that money? Is this, it counts out to about $40,000 per refugee from my counting.
Yeah, this is interesting. Well, look, Obama's better at spending money than he is enforcing the law, which, of course, if he had done, would have prevented the situation to begin with. So he needs the money now, which I think may be legitimate given where we are. And it puts all of Congress and all of us in a difficult situation because even though we want our laws enforced, we want the kids, legal or illegal, all kids, to be cared for humanely. That said, this is interesting. Congress might just have the upper hand right now. Obama's lax enforcement policies have just blown up in his face. Now the House of Representatives has something he needs, money. Congress, at this point, can administer a little tough love. Here's the deal they should make. The House says, we're going to give you the money to house and process these kids, Mr. President. But in return, Buster, you're going to guarantee that they're going to be removed. You're going to stop abusing executive power, and you're going to start enforcing our immigration laws as intended. The nonsense has to stop because, frankly, and I'm sorry, this is not a politically sophisticated way to put it, but we're all getting very sick and tired of it. We're going to take steps to make sure this doesn't happen again. I think that's the deal that Congress has in their lap right now.
So, Bob, for the last few months, the experts have been saying no immigration reform till after 2016, till President Obama has moved on. Does this latest affair change that? Does it galvanize forces for, forces against, however you want to articulate? Does this change things? Does it make meaningful immigration reform more likely in the near term?
Yes and no. Legislatively, it's out of gas. The crisis is, I think, evidence that Obama hasn't and won't enforce the laws. So that means the Republicans can't and won't negotiate with him in good faith on an amnesty for more enforcement. I mean, you've got a Republican House Majority Whip, Steve Scalise. He's new. He opposes amnesty. Judiciary Chairman Bob Goodlatte. This recent crisis, that's the end of the road for him. He has washed his hands of Obama's amnesty agenda. And, of course, the recent defeat of Eric Cantor in Virginia, that's a sign to most Republicans that pushing amnesty now will relegate their career to the scrap heap of history. That said, that, of course, does not stop Obama from pulling out his pen and his phone and doing, administratively that which he can't get done legislatively.
Bob Dane, you just mentioned the compassion for the children. We only have about 30 seconds here, but quickly, this is what Nancy Pelosi said about these kids.
If you believe, as we do, that every child, every person has a spark of divinity in them and is therefore worthy of respect, what we saw in those rooms was dazzling, sparkling array of God's children worthy of respect.
Now, you are a communications expert. Your job is to communicate the immigration message. Talk to me about how conservatives, Republicans can communicate the message of a safe and secure border from the perspective of compassion for these children, how it's actually the compassionate position to have.
Having clarity on the rule of law and actually enforcing the rule of law in a uniform application is probably one of the most humane things you can do. Ironically, a lot of these kids are coming up here from countries where the law is made up with each passing away by some sort of tyrant. Look, there is a humanitarian element to this, but it has come about by a cold, calculated manipulation of immigration for political reasons. Let's get back to the true purpose of immigration, controlling our borders and serving our broad national interest. And if we did that, we'd have less kids coming up here with false expectations.
Bob Dane, Federation for Americans for Immigration Reform, thanks for joining.